Thank you for all showing up for tonight's ARPA meeting. I have a little agenda, but you know, it's in my other book. I brought the wrong book. We'll shoot from the hip, it'll be fine. As most of you know, I've been a part of most of the discussions through this process with Brenda not winning re-election. The select board wanted a select board to straight, and since I have been part of it, this whole process, they determined that that would be me. Which I'm fine with. Is this my agenda? Thank you. I appreciate it. Here. So I just wanted to say that I've been through the process and heard all the requests. As the administrator, just so people understand the rule briefly, the administrator is just the person who collects the data and the paperwork and turns it over to the select board for review. Okay. I know that there were thoughts that there was differences of how the administrator kind of runs it. It's really not that. It's you are the figurehead, you're going to collect it for the town, compile it, and turn it over to the select board for determination. So that's why we went from a few more meetings to get disbursements by the 23 or the 24 to we will know by April 12th what's going to happen. I want to make that commitment unless there's for whatever reason the select board can't make that move. We should know by the end of April 12th if your organizations or individuals is going to receive funding at that time. So I wanted to address the moving of the Citizens Oversight Committee, but that was a piece that was spoken at almost every meeting referred to. The Oversight Committee was going to review the request and determine if they move up. I spoke to Kim Buckley, who's in charge of ARPA down at the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, and we had a brief discussion. She said, that's just a suggestion. I said, I have less than 12. She goes, you don't need a committee to review 12. So we have removed the committee, expedited the process, streamlined it to get this thing moving forward quicker. The leagues of cities and towns will review their own documents to make sure they fit within the final rule. And that is important to understand. If they say it does not fit in the final rule, it gets removed from the rule. It must be a part of the final rule. The final rule is pretty bad. So I'm not quite sure. They would have to explain why they would remove something from the final read, but it is a possibility. It's always a possibility something could be removed. Any questions up to this point? Okay, moving on then. Remaining funds post April 12th. My thought is, unless it's an immediate need for funds, that the funds we would do we open it up in September or something past the summer. Most people are going to be busy. So the idea is we get any funds that are going to be dispersed on the 12th. And let me explain. On the 12th, the select board will vote if to award the funds to the request or not. You did not get the funds that night, even though I was trying to move pretty quick. We still have to put it on a warrant. That warrant will happen at the next select board meeting, in which right after the meeting the next day or so, your checks will be cut and you can pick them up. If you are recipients of funds, there will be a document that you'll be required to sign to receive the funds, and that releases the town, even though most of you are 501(c)(3)s and organizations like that. The document will state that the town is not responsible for any taxes, fees, or anything due to the receipt of these funds for your organizations. That is your responsibility to report and or pay those from those funds. Okay, everyone good so far? Thank you. Except the requests, I think, does anyone have a request that I do not have? This one here is yours. This one here is yours. Thank you. So, this building for library. Okay. I have the Conservation Commission, building for library. I have Mark and Janet LaRoche. I have Fairfield Community Center. I have the Volunteer Fire Department, the Historical Societies, the Bakersfield itself requesting funds, the town works or road department, And I have over here, I believe this is it, the clerk's request. Are there any, I'm sorry. Okay. The Hearst House stabilization, okay. So I have all, there are no additional, and I have Lucas James Williams. So do I have any others? Okay, with this will be, unless someone emails me before I stop the recording. This is it. Stephen True, do you have any requests or anything? Did you email something?
Please. Can you hear me okay?
Okay.
Great. I'm here on behalf of the Fairfield Community Center.
Okay, thank you. And someone else, the name is too small. It looks like Dina Allen. Dana Allen? Is that? Deanna Allen. Deanna Allen? Do you have anything request or organization that's already here?
Okay, no, I'm not. I'm just viewing.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
So,
I'm sorry, Stephen True here.
Yes.
If you could speak closer into the microphone.
Thank
you.
You're welcome. People usually tell me I'm too loud. Yeah, people tell me I'm too loud. So,
no,
yep.
You're trying to listen to this real like
Can you have a mic and say that, please? So that's why I'm moving back. So anyhow, if there are no yes, is there any? I will go with the continuation past this evening's explanation. So on the 10th, the select board has a meeting. The executive session.
We have not won that back. It's one tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow, an executive session post the 10th meeting. I'm, as of right now, I'm taking these with Tammy's help because I don't have access to the computers. We're going to scan all this in. We're going to email this out to the entire select board and Katie Buckley. I'll forward it around to Katie when I get home because I don't have her email address readily available. But we'll send this off to everyone to review. Through them, they should know what they're going to put on. On the 10th, post the normal select board meeting, the select board will end the executive session so that if anyone wants to, we can kind of work questions together for the 12th. That's all it is. There's no decisions. It's hey, let's put together a list of questions we may have for each person. There may be no questions. There could be 150. I have no idea. And there could be follow-ups. It all just depends on what they see and the questions that are there. I can't speak for my four counterparts as to what they may ask. So that would be the 10th. On the 12th, we have a 7 p.m. meeting. We ask that at least one representative from each requester be here. That is 8 days from today, so it's a week from Wednesday. That is so that if we have questions, we have to asking you said questions and get answers, you know, immediately. So send someone of knowledge because at the 12th, it's going to be the decisions. So, you know, you don't want to send someone who doesn't know what they're speaking to because these questions are important to determine if funding will be, if your organizations will be funded. Okay, and then finally, at the 12th meeting, as I said, once we're finished, there will be a vote. I believe we're going to go one at a time and vote. I'm not sure though. I don't want to speak. We'll figure that out on the 10th. When the whole team's here with me, and then 10th, 17th, 24th, April 24th is our next select board meeting. Past that, anyone who's been, as I said, awarded will sign the warrant for it, and the next day or so we'll start cutting checks. So I would expect that everyone would have, if you've been awarded funds, those funds will be available to you before May 1st. Frankly, it should be April 25th or 26th. Okay. Any questions, concerns? Anyone? Yes, sir.
Well, I'm not too long executive session. I don't completely understand why you require states, but will there be a published account of that executive session?
It's not on record. The executive session isn't put on record. If a decision was made, we'd come back on record, but There is no decisions because we're just trying to prep a set of questions before the meeting on the 12th. You know, there will be no questions, which will be a great executive session. That would be really nice. My thing is someone will go, I haven't had a chance to read them yet. You have 2 days, get through the documents already. So some folks are very busy, as we all know. We all have things in our lives that tie us up. So does that answer your question?
He does.
Okay. Any further questions or concerns? All right. Yep. Yes, I'm sorry.
When it goes into executive session, is it unanimous or 2/3 on the decision making?
So let me explain how, at least I've always been trained now. For those who don't know, I'm a COO, I run a business. I've been in big corporate businesses most of my life, and I moved to Vermont for the position I currently hold. Usually it's called brainstorming in the process, and no question is a bad question. You may wind up with some crazy stuff. It could be, like I said, it could be questions, it could be 20 questions. I think the important thing is that we get our questions out of our heads on paper so that we can, you know, have them ready to present. And that's really what it comes down to. Because on the 12th, we don't want to be like, wait a minute. Question for you, what is it? You know, you get this 3 different ways the same question. It's just redundant. Yes.
Will you be allowed to ask impromptu questions, or does it have to be the question to set up going into the meeting?
My thought process, honestly, and I'm speaking for myself, is that usually the question, sometimes the answer generates a follow-up question in a lot of cases. So this is just a leap pad and maybe not, but this is a leap pad to just figure out so they can make, so we, part of it, can make the most informed decision as possible and make sure that we're you know, giving everyone their due and make sure that we look at the funding appropriately. Anyone else? Did I answer your question, Rosalie?
Yes, so on request proposals, I have no question. Sorry, I'm always asking questions.
Okay.
Let's say somebody asked for $3,000.
On record, right? Up here, hit the button.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I totally agree with that for the folks on, I don't know if you can hear what they're saying, that is totally my fault. Yeah, if Tanner wants to go back and make the notes. So push the button that says push and the light will turn on with a bright green. There you go, have a seat. So go ahead, your follow-up, your original question was,
Well, first I was trying to find out if how many of the select board is it a unanimous decision or is it like me or
are you saying for the question or are you saying for determination of funds?
combination?
I believe it's majority.
Okay, the other question, oh my God, I'm scared for the last question. The other question, I came up here for.
Someone asked $3,000.
Oh, if somebody requests, let's say, an organization or business asks for $3,000, can the board cut it back or go more, or is it only up to what they asked for?
That's a great question that we haven't discussed. I would say if the board requests and says, hey, you know, that request, and this is my personal opinion, I'm 1 of 5, right? But my opinion is that the board needs to, you know, for whatever reason, going through, you just get, you're still getting something, you may not get the full amount.
The no appeals.
Well, if you talk to Katie, to ultimately the board makes the final decision. So you do appeal on the, yeah, you do appeal to the people who just made the decision to the people who just made the decision. So I mean, it sits. And as a big member, and I'll speak for overall, it's a lot of responsibility. We can be great people, and everybody does it, so we can get skills out here and let the people hate us. You know, it's a rough position to be in, to be honest. But we want to be fair to everyone. We're going to take and look through every request thoroughly and make sure that we give everyone's requests a fair opportunity. Thank you. Yes, sir. You have to come on up and push the button.
Clarification.
Go right ahead.
Still green, I think.
No, it's yes, it's bright green when you turn it
I
on.
was wondering, when she was discussing if the board has the power to change an amount, would that be happening the executive session or later?
I think you're gonna find on the 12th is our date. So if the board says, you know, we asked for $90,000 and we figure we're going to 25.
But that will be decided in the executive session.
I mean, that'll be decided. We have to go to an executive session, we're gonna see it live. That's all on the 12th. Any further questions, concerns, issues? As for the community center,
Yeah.
I think we spoke on the phone earlier today. Would you break it into two or leave it as one? Just a curiosity, before I read it. Push the button that says push.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, but it's not a great green, right? It's light up, it's like a neon green. There you go.
Yes,
So,
we did leave it as one proposal
okay,
and it has both loss of income as well as capital improvements.
okay,
And we would ask that they look at them individually. We're not asking for the total of what
Right.
those two would be. We sort of said, here's the money we lost because we weren't able to do fundraising,
right,
among other things. And here's how we want to spend it.
right,
So we did leave it as one proposal,
okay.
especially given
Size of it, yeah, that's,
all the 990s and
yeah, that's a lot of 990s. Thank you, though. It's a good thing.
the there is no 990 for 2022.
Not filed it yet. That's fine.
Right, exactly.
Right. So for those I spoke to individually, and it was more than the community center, you kind of know the path we're on, but for those I didn't speak to, for organizations that are requesting loss of funds due to inability to fundraise, we've requested a profit and loss statement from those organizations. And just being totally transparent to everyone here and whoever watches this video, profit and loss statement, and if they're 501c3s, boy, I always invert that. If you are a, you know, a 5013C, I do see that. If you're a tax exempt organization, you know, we requested the 990s as well. It's only if you're asking for reimbursement due to loss of fundraising and or loss of income that we've asked for the profit and loss and stuff like that. We did not ask it for folks who said, you know, for instance, the historical society situation, that's right where a piece of the building was about to fall down and they couldn't get the people out to fix it during COVID and had a problem getting that done. That's in here. So, yes. So for anyone, just in total transparency, what we're talking about here, and again, total transparency, we had a lovely conversation today, and I knew it was in the last moments, but I thought, well, you know what, if it's two different requests, you may want to split it apart, but we're intelligent people. I'm sure we can figure it out. Yes. Thank you.
You did
We kept it as one.
kept as one, yeah.
Exactly. So without further ado, if there's
Hi, sorry, Stephen True speaking on behalf of the FCCA. First of all, thank you for your conversations earlier today. Also, just in terms of, if you don't mind, if you could expand a bit on the contents of the final rule and the criteria that they're looking for. You know, we came into this a little bit late, and I'm concerned that our application hasn't addressed the contents of the final rule. And if you could expand if that's necessary. And if so, if you have any questions regarding that, I'd like to address them.
So, Stephen, I'll be honest, that final rule is several hundred pages long. It is a document that
It's not a small document.
it is not a small document I would not do it justice trying to give a synopsis or you know, an excerpt from it for an explanation. Out on the town website, I believe it's the agenda for tonight's meeting, and at the bottom of the agenda is the link for the final rule. I would encourage you to take a peek at that. If you have any last minute, you know, hey, I want to give you an update real quick before we make some decision. That would be the 12th. That ruling is pretty broad and was pretty in depth. So I joked at one time, I said it was the rule before the final rule out there, and it was so and we've changed it, but you know, the final rule makes changes, and you know, it's the final rule until the next final rule, because we've had the final rule several times now.
Correct.
As I said, analysis paralysis. So I'm not blaming Brenda. Brenda got paralyzed, for lack of a better term, analysis paralysis. She was afraid to move forward in case something changes. There is a clause in anything in the contract or whatever called the grandfather clause. If we give the money out today and it fits within today's boundaries of the final, I believe they have the capability of telling us we disperse money inappropriately. We instructions, we followed, we confirmed, we dispersed the funds. But if it's inappropriate because you make a change now, it's like your house, you know, if I go get something done and the rules are, you know, you have to be 4 feet deep in the ground to put a post in and they change it to 6, they expect me to dig up my foundation to drop it 2 more feet. It's not going to happen. So I encourage you to take a peek at the final rule. And I'm not going to try to just take an excerpt from it for you. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions that I can avoid? No, seriously, any other questions, concerns, issues? Listen, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. You know, I know it seems like you popped over, but honestly, we needed the updated proposals, so I couldn't get my hands on the originals, and several of you have told me that some funding has changed and what you needed. So I appreciate you stopping out. I wish you all the best. And we will be seeing everyone, at least one representative who can speak to this on the 12th, okay? These guys. The 12th. The 10th is the normal select board meeting that we're going to have an executive session after to try to put questions together. And then the 12th is when we see all of you, at least one of every group, to discuss and ask you questions if there are any. I will, by the 12th, I'm hoping Katie can get back to me because she'll have all these to look at as well and tell me, yes, they fit in the final rule. And then we'll be able to go from there. Okay. Thank you all.
Tonight,
Yes.
more application.
That's it. Which is
It's 9/7.
I'm sorry, 7/24, 1924. My phone's grayed out. Yes.
One quick question.
Yes.
If that bill comes up with some questions on the 10th
Yes.
that are,
And that's.
would you give us a heads up ahead of time, or are we gonna be?
I don't want to say because we're not supposed to make decisions. So it's just basic questions that we're seeing from these. But if someone comes out and says, wow, this is, you know, I really got to do, you know, see if they're okay with us sharing it ahead of time. I don't know. So, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming out tonight and enjoy the. It's getting close.